So, before I start our discussion, so I have this saying in the first slide. So, let's read. Everything comes to us that belongs to us if we create the capacity to receive it. So, medyo malalim siya, pero madali natin siyang ma-explain in simple words. Ibig sabihin nito, lahat ng opportunities pwedeng dumating sa atin if we have the capacity to do it. Hindi naman ibig sabihin na may darating na opportunity sa'yo na kailangan mo pa siyang like parang hindi mo siya kayang tanggapin. So, naniniwala ako na lahat ng bagay na binibigay sa atin ay kaya nating gawin. So, there are challenges that we can encounter, pero in the end, we can, we have the capacity to do it. So, I have this, let me say, parang paniniwala na kung ano man dumating sa'yo ay para sa'yo. Kung di man dumating sa'yo, ibig sabihin, it's not for you. So, there are other opportunities na pwedeng dumating sa'yo na pwede ka talagang makapag-excel and you can do what you want to do and you can do what you are good to do. So, naniniwala ako sa ganun. Alam ko naman na we have different paniniwala, pero for me lang na yung mga bagay na binibigay sa'yo, it is for you. And hindi naman sabihin natin na porket na hindi binigay sa'yo ay parang malas ka. Pero sometimes there are parang meron tayong mga iba't ibang timeline sa buhay. So, ibig sabihin, hindi natin kailangan magmadali. Pero, on the other side, there are things na kailangan natin gawin para sa ikauunlad ng life natin. So, yun lang naman. So, we are tackling for today the topic of capacity planning. So, this is our last two topics. So, first we have the capacity planning, and the next will be all about the materials management natin. Okay? So, what is capacity? So, capacity is the capability of a system to perform its expected function, and the capability of a worker, machine, work center, plant, or organization to produce output per time period. So, yung capacity in Tagalog is called the kapasidad. So, ano yung capacity ng isang system, ng isang worker, ng isang machine, or ng isang facility to produce an output. Ang ibig sabihin nun. So, kadalasan, yung capacity, ito yung parang system ng isang kumpanya or ng business organization na mag-produce tayo ng mga kailangan nating i-produce. For example, sa business organization or sa mga manufacturing, ano yung capacity ng isang aircraft manufacturer to produce a kind of aircraft? So, they have the yung tanong dito, is there capacity? Kung may kapasidad ba yung isang manufacturer to produce a type of aircraft? So, for example, sabihin natin local manufacturing sa Pilipinas. Sa tingin nyo, sa facility ng Pilipinas, kaya ba nating makapag-produce ng isang Boeing or Airbus na airliner na aircraft? Pwede, pero hindi siya katulad ng capacity ng ibang mga companies or ng ibang bansa na they have facilities to produce that kind of aircraft. So, sa service providers naman, pumapasok din yan. Kasi minsan, dito na pumapasok yung sa labor natin or kung gaano karaming employees yung gagawa ng isang certain task natin. Kasi minsan, like I said earlier nga sa mga topics natin, ang mga empleyado ng Pilipinas, overwork yan. So, kadalasan, nag-OT, minsan nagiging OT, yun na lang, di ba? So, papasok din yung capacity doon ng workers natin. Kasi, for example, there is a certain task na kailangan gawin ng isang service provider. For example, sa maintenance. So, kailangan nila mag-check. So, di ba sa ACRM ba yun? Kung alam kung napag-aralan na, we have different checks. So, we have A-check. So, we have B-check, we have C-checks, and we have D-check. So, kadalasan, there are certain employees na kailangan doon. So, dapat tama or angkop yung mga employees natin. Hindi kasi dapat sila overwork para maging maayos yung or productive yung kanilang workload. So, yun lang naman yung sa capacity natin. Okay? So next we have this term, what they call the capacity planning. So capacity planning is the process of determining the production capacity needed by an organization to meet changing demands for its quality products. So pag sinabi naman natin capacity planning, ito yung paghahanda na or planning, from its word planning, ng capacity ng isang kumpanya. So sinabi dito, to meet changing demands, kadalasan nga sinasabi ko, ang business or ang manufacturing or service provider organization, excuse me, nagdedepend sila sa demand ng tao. Kasi lagi naman papasok, kahit anumang pagbalik-balik ta rin pa natin, ang lahat ng mga topics natin, mag-fall down pa rin ang business tungkol sa supply and demand. So, sobrang halaga talaga ng law of supply and demand kasi doon tayo nagbe-base. Kung yung sa capacity nga, kung pag tumataas yung demand, we need to also increase our supply. Then, pag bumababa yung demand, we also need to decrease our supply. Kasi pag hindi tayo nag-adjust, depend on the demand, malulugi yung company natin. Eh, dapat sumabay din tayo sa trend ng demand natin. Hindi tayo dapat magpapaiwan and also wag tayong manguna. Kasi pag nangyari yun, we can have misconceptions sa capacity planning natin and we can have, number one, we can have oversupply and number two, we can have undersupply. So, yun yung dalawang bagay na kailangan nating iwasan sa capacity planning natin. Dapat we need to have a balance capacity planning para alam natin yung mga supply na kailangan nating ilabas or kailangan nating bawasan. Okay? So next we have this term, the effective capacity. Pag sinabi naman natin effective capacity, the maximum amount of work that an organization is capable of completing in a given period due to constraints such as quality, problems, delay, material handling, and etc. So, pag sinabi naman natin effective capacity, ito na yung pinaka parang capacity ng isang kumpanya to work effective para depende naman yan sa ano natin, sa delays and material handling. Sabihin natin delays, kadalasan sa delays, sa logistics pumapasok yan. So, sa Pilipinas, we have this called the traffic na isang case talaga na nagkakaroon ng delay lalo sa logistics. Kasi bakit? Kung natatandaan nyo, if we talk about logistics, it's all about the delivery din. So, yung delivery ng mga products, dapat hindi yan made-delay natin. So, isa pang example ng delay natin is yung weather conditions. Kapag bumabagyo, mahirap mag-deliver. Or minsan, pag bumabagyo, we have this called flooding. So, nagkakaroon tayo ng mga baha na hindi naman natin maiiwasan. Next naman sa material handling, kadalasan naman sa material handling, human errors or human factors dito. Ano ibig sabihin ng human factors? Ibig sabihin ng human factors, kadalasan nagkakamali dahil sa tao. So, minsan, di naman perfecto yung tao. They have miscommunications and other things na hindi natin maiiwasan. So, kailangan natin na improve siya. So, by the means of the effective capacity natin, nagkakaroon tayo ng complete or not so complete, pero hindi man perfect, pero more like perfect na planning. So, they can have smooth capacity system na pwede nilang gamitin sa mga susunod pang mga taon. Okay? So, we have capacity problems. So, ito naman, i-share ko naman yung mga pwede nating ma-encounter na mga problems in what we call sa capacity planning natin. Okay, so we have number one, the least favorable option for the company when demand exceeds capacity is to back order the product to the customer. So, back ordering is not a good option as it forces the company to violate the concepts of perfect order fulfillment and means the customer will have to wait longer for the product. Since most companies do not have monopoly on products, this may mean losing a customer or an order to a competitor. So, ibig sabihin lang nito, pag ibig sabihin ng back ordering, parang nagkakaroon ng delay sa order. So, dahil nga hindi na laman or hindi nakasabay yung isang company sa demand ng products, so they need to get other supplies. So, for example, maganda example niyan is yung sa face mask natin ng pandemic. So, papasok pa rin yung issue na yun. So, di ba nagkaroon tayo ng mataas na demand ng face mask and alcohol? So, nangyari nun dahil nga we have delays. So, number one delay nun is yung sa delivery. Kasi yung, di ba yung mga flights nun? So, yung mga flights nun, canceled. So, kadalasan, yung ginagawang mode of transportation is by sea. So, matagal yung dating ng mga supplies natin. So, Yun yung maganda example ng bakit tayo nagkakaroon ng back ordering. Okay? So, next naman, we have when capacity exceeds demand for the product. There are a few options to consider. The first and most drastic is reduced capacity. This may be in the form of plant closures, forced vacations, or employee layoffs. The second remedy may be to reduce operational hours. Many companies have adopted this option during the pandemic to keep workers employed while meeting the needs of the customers. Ito yung isa nakakalungkot na nangyari ng pandemic. So, lalo na sa aviation field. So, let me tell a story about how pandemic affected aviation. So like I said earlier, nung pandemic, we have nagkaroon ng cancellation of flights. So walang flight. Totally, lahat walang flight. So nangyari nun, ano nangyari? From the pilot, walang trabaho. From the flight attendants, walang trabaho. To the ramp agents or the ramp employees, ibig sabihin sa ramp employees, ito yung mga nagtatrabaho sa airport natin. Walang trabaho. And if walang flight yung aeroplano, we don't need to have a service. Ibig sabihin, hindi natin kailangan mag-maintenance kasi nasa ground lang yung aeroplano natin o AOG siya o aircraft on ground. Ibig sabihin nun, pag di natin kailangan ng service, there will be no mechanics. So wala rin trabaho. Then, engineers, wala rin trabaho. Kaya nagkaroon tayo the word, the layoff. Ibig sabihin na layoff, pinagandang term na pinagpahinga or in unfortunate case, tinanggal sa trabaho yung mga empleyado. So, dahil sa capacity planning, hindi ko man sinasabi na masama yung ginawa ng mga companies kasi nagbawa sila ng empleyado, pero it's still a business. So, pag business, they are focusing on the profits. Sige, wag tayo don't be a hypocrite. Pag business ka, you are thinking all about the money. Kasi pag walang pera, hindi tatakbo yung business mo. So you need to adjust. So nangyayari, it's not a good thing, pero there are instances na talagang sa employees, yung mga mababang employee, yung tinatamaan ng problema. Kasi they tend to have forced vacations or what we call parang pinagli-leave nila yung empleyado nila pero walang bayad yon. Hindi katulad yung mga sick leave natin tsaka mga vacation leave natin na may bayad. So ginagawa doon, pinagpapahinga nila yung mga empleyado nila. And sabi ko nga, yung pinaka-pangit or pinaka-malala na nangyari nung pandemic is what we call the employee layoffs. Sabihin na layoff, sabihin natin sa term na nagtanggal sila ng mga empleyado dahil wala nga silang demand. So, wala namang aayusing eroplano, wala namang lumilipad na eroplano, so wala rin gagawing trabaho yung empleyado. Kaya in the end, nagtanggal na lang sila ng mga empleyado. So, nakakalungkot yun pangyayari, lalo na yung pandemic. Sobrang hirap humanap ng trabaho, lalo na pag-aviation, kasi wala ngang flights nun. So, pero ngayon, sabi nga nila, nakakabawi na yung aviation natin, and sana magtuloy-tuloy na. Para din naman sa atin yun. Di ba? So, para lahat tayo, in the near future, we have different paths or pathways na pwede nating ituloy. Hindi lang sa aviation, kundi sa iba't ibang bagay din. Di ba? Okay. Nalinaw tayo dun, ha? Okay. So, we have 3 goals of capacity planning. So, number 1 is minimize discrepancy. Number 2 is better utilization of existing capacity. And lastly, we have the OEE, or what we call the overall equipment effectiveness. So, sa una tayo. Ibig sabihin natin sa discrepancy, ibig sabihin nito, dito napapasok sa inventory. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng discrepancy? Ang discrepancy, ito yung percentage or bilang ng inventory or ng number na hindi siya magkaparehas. So, pag sinabi natin discrepancy, maliit na pagitan. Ibig sabihin, for example, the sales of the company in year 2020 na inventory nila ay sabihin natin 30% and yung na-compute naman ng isang department is 30.8%, there's still a discrepancy of 0.8%. Sige, sabihin natin, sir, 0.8% lang naman yun. Pero isipin nyo, kung multi-million dollars yung kinikita ng isang kumpanya and multiply it by 8.8%, it can still thousands. So, malaking bagay pa rin yung pera or yung supply na nawawala. So, ginagawa ng capacity planning is to minimize discrepancy. Ibig sabihin, they tend to make plans na hindi na dapat ito magkaroon ng discrepancy or hindi naman natin may iwasan discrepancy kasi like I said, we have different factors na pwedeng mangyari sa capacity planning natin. So, sinabi ko nga kanina, we have delays and number 2, we have the human factors. So, kadalasan sa tao yung problema. Okay? So, number 2, we have better utilization of existing capacity. So, kadalasan naman ito, sa improvement lang naman siya pumapasok. So, yung capacity planning, we need to improve it every year na lumilipas. So, hindi tayo pwede stagnant and also, sabi nga kanina, yung capacity planning, nagde-depend tayo sa up and down ng trend ng demand natin. So, dun pa rin tayo nag-fall out. Okay? So, next or the third goal is to overall equipment effectiveness. Ibig sabihin ng overall equipment effectiveness is to make our equipments effective. For example, you're a manufacturing of an aircraft. So, dapat lahat ng equipments mo maging effective siya. Or, in simple words, magamit siya ng tama. Dapat yung capacity ng isang facility to manufacture a certain kind of product, dapat magawa nyo ng effective. So, ganun lang naman siya. Simple. Okay? So, ano ibig sabihin ng OEE natin? O yung sinabi natin, overall equipment effectiveness. So, OEE is a measure of how well a manufacturing operation is utilized. So, like I said earlier, we have the facilities, time, and also power material compared to its full potential during the periods when it's scheduled to run. An OEE of 100% means that only good parts are produced 100% quality at the maximum speed of 100% performance and without interruption. So, kadalasan, ang simple words lang dito, if we talk about OEE, is the perfectness of the system from its product, from its facility, from its workers, from its time, and also the material na ginagamit natin. Okay? So, next we have this called the aggregate capacity planning. So, aggregate capacity planning, so it is a long-term look at capacity needs and requirements. So usually, aggregate planning looks 18 months or 18 to 24 months into the future. And the forecasted demand for the product is going to drive long-term planning for resources. An increase in capacity may require a new facility or new equipment. New facilities take time to design and build and time to hire and train the employees to staff the facility. So, pag sinabi natin aggregate capacity planning, ito yung long term. Ibig sabihin, yung pagbabago ng kapasidad ng isang company ay nagde-depend din sa demand natin. So, kadalasan, yung aggregate capacity planning, ginagawa siya pag nagdadagdag na tayo ng bagong mga things ng mga department natin. O kadalasan, nagre-require tayo ng new facility or ng ating new equipment. So, minsan, ginagawa siya para yung aggregate capacity planning for long-term. So, tandaan niyo lang, if we talk about long-term planning, we talk about aggregate capacity planning natin. Okay? So, next we have master production schedule. So, short-term capacity planning is driven by the master production schedule. So, itong master production schedule natin, ginagawa naman siya in short term. So, yung kanina sa aggregate natin, ginagawa siya in long term, pero sa what we call the master production schedule, ginagawa naman natin siya by short term means natin. So, this anticipated build schedule helps to formalize the production plan and helps the company translate specific parts, components, or finished products requirements into a work schedule and capacity plan. Okay? So, dun siya ginagawa. So, para schedule lang naman siya. For example, nagkakaroon tayo ng schedule sa planning natin or sa production natin. So, for example, we are producing aircraft seats. So, dapat tama yung schedule nyo. Depende din sa weather natin and weather conditions. And also, sa number of employees na pumasok ng araw na yun. Kasi pangit naman na, like I said, na ma-overwork yung mga employee mo kasi there is a chance na alisan ka niyan. So, dapat pumapasok pa rin yung ethics natin. Or pag sinabi ng ethics, ito yung parang pakiramdaman na tamang pagtrato sa empleyado mo. Okay? So, we have different strategies and capacity planning. So, first of all, we have the lead strategy. So, lead strategy, adding capacity, anticipation of increase in demand. So, like I said, lahat ng bagay or lahat sa business organization and services, papasok tayo sa paggalaw ng demand ng market natin. Okay? So, an aggressive strategy with the goal of luring customers away from the company's competitors by improving the service level and reducing lead time. Okay. So, kadalasan yan, yung magandang strategy na lead strategy, makikita natin yan sa mga delivery or makikita natin siya sa mga logistics companies. So, for example, di ba sa Lazada, we have Ninja Van, we have JNT, and we have Flash Express. So, itong mga to, meron silang strategy na 2 days delivery time. Minsan, ano pa nga lang parang 1 day lang, magbibigay na yung delivery mo. So, they have aggressive strategy with the goal of luring customers. So, ano pang maganda example nito? Sa Angkas. So, they have different strategies or marketing strategy to lure the customers. So, paano? Paano nila malulure yung customers nila to its competitors? Number 1, they have marketing strategy. Okay. Kasi they have to tend to make marketing techniques para makuha nila yung mga customers. Okay. Excuse me. Number 2, they have promos. Doon talaga tayo nagkakatalo. So, minsan, we tend to use services or buy products na naka-promo. Siyempre, sino ba namang walang gusto na makatipid, di ba? So, kahit onting less lang yan, ilang percent lang yan. So, ginagawa nila yan. So, they tend to have promos para they can produce or they can makuha din sila ng mga bagong customers nila. Okay? So, yun yung sa lead strategy natin. Lastly, it is also a strategy aimed at reducing stock out cost. So, a large capacity does not necessarily imply high inventory levels, but it can imply higher cycle stock cost. So, excess capacity can also be rented to other companies. So, yung capacity natin minsan, for example, sa facilities. Sa logistics kasi minsan we have this called the warehouse. So, minsan, pag sobra yung capacity or yung planning nyo na pagtayo ng warehouse, for example, 1 hectare of warehouse yung sinabi mo or yung gagawin nyo. Pero yung magagamit lang ng company nyo is like, what we can say, 700 square meters. So, meron pa kayo natirang ibang square meters. So, ang gagawin ng company, para hindi masayang yung capacity ng facility niya, the company will offer leasing or renting a part of a warehouse. So, ginagawa yan, guys. So, hindi yan bago sa logistics sa logistics industry. So, kadalasan, yung mga warehouse natin, hindi siya solely ginagamit ng isang company lang. So, minsan, pag sobra yung capacity planning nila, like I said nga sa facility, nagpaparent sila ng ibang pinaparent nila yung sobrang part ng warehouse sa ibang kumpanya. So, they tend to rent the part na yun na hindi naman nila ginagamit para kumikita pa rin sila. So, may return of investment pa rin kahit papano yung company. Okay? So, we have advantages of lead strategy. So, sinabi lang naman dito tungkol sa demand, and it can be used to preempt competitors who might be planning to expand their own capacity. So, for example, being the first in an area to open a large grocery or home improvement store gives a retailer a defined edge. So, pag advance ka, ibig sabihin nun, ikaw yung mauuna. So, pag lead strategy, ibig sabihin ng pag lead strategy, ikaw yung magsisimula or ikaw yung aggressive ka. So, pag ikaw yung nauna, syempre, siguro, pag nauna ka, may advantages kasi ikaw yung unang nag-ano ng product, pero meron din naman siyang disadvantages. So, katulad pag lead strategy, sometimes you can tend to oversupply din natin. Okay? So, next we have the lag strategy. So, kung kanina lead, ngayon lag. Ibig sabihin, parang nagpa-follow ka lang sa nagle-lead. So, yun yung magandang explanation dyan. Pero ito yung pinaka-explanation. So, if we say about lag strategy, this refers to adding capacity only after the organization is running at full capacity or beyond due to increase in demand natin. So, this is a more conservative strategy and opposite of lead capacity strategy. So, opposite siya, ibig sabihin, we tend to play safe pag we set lag strategy. Hindi tayo aggressive sa mga actions natin. So, it decreases the risk of waste, but it may result in the loss of possible customers, either by stock out or low service levels. So, ano ibig sabihin nun? Ang stock out, ibig sabihin pag nawalan ka ng stocks. Kasi hindi ka nga aggressive eh. You tend not to oversupply or you tend not to get additional supply. Kasi play safe ka. So for example, kung anong kinita mo or ano yung supply mo ng this month, yun pa rin yung supply mo in the next month. E paano kung tumaas yung demand? So mangyayari, ma-out of stock ka, then yung mga customers mo maghihintay sa'yo. So mangyayari nun, pag matagal yung stock na pagpasok sa'yo or yung mga stock na pwede mong i-offer sa customer mo, syempre di ba tayo naman, sabihin, kunyari, bumibili tayo ng groceries, then walang stock dun sa isang grocery. Mangyayari, we tend to go to other grocery store and we buy kung anong kailangan natin. So mangyayari, you lose customers and you lose customers sa competitors mo. So yung iiwasan natin. Pag yun naman, yung kadalasan nating pwedeng maranasan pag we tend to use the lag strategy. Kasi we are playing safe na ayaw mo magkaroon ng oversupply, pero yun nga, yung disadvantage niya is you can have this phenomenon, what we call the stock out or out of supply natin. Okay? So, 3 clear advantages of this strategy are reduced risk of overbuilding, greater productivity due to higher utilization, and the ability to put off large investments as long as possible. So, yun nga. Excuse me. Pag lag strategy, kadalasan, hindi tayo nag-oversupply. So, wala tayong wastes and wala tayong oversupply. Okay? Yun lang naman siya. So, organization that follow this strategy often provide mature, cost-sensitive products or services. So, kadalasan, pag lag strategy, di siya aggressive. Ibig sabihin, sumusunod siya sa system or yung depende kung play safe nga siya. Ulit-ulitin ko lang. Pag lag strategy, it is the play safe strategy. At pag sinabi natin lead strategy, so yung kanina, aggressive strategy siya. Okay? Yun lang naman yun, yung kailangan tatandaan. Okay. So next we have the match strategy. So adding capacity in small amounts in response to changing demand. So yung gitna niya, yung gitna ng lag and lead is the match strategy. So minamatch lang niya yung demand natin. So paunti-unti na nagdadagdag. So maganda example nito is yung sa mga street foods natin or yung sa mga ugbo. Hindi ko alam kung tama yung term, yung mga bancheto, ba nun? Oo. So nagdadagdag lang sila ng small amounts of demand. So kung ano yung nag-trending na product or pagkain sa social media, yun yung susundan nila. So hindi sila, for example, na sabihin natin na nagtitinda sila ng tapsilog. Then nauso yung mini donuts. Hindi naman ibig sabihin na tapsilog sila. Tapos in the next few weeks, they will change their business into mini donuts. So gagawin ng tapsilog, they will just add the mini donuts in their menu. So yun yung drastic change nila. So hindi sila biglaan nag-iiba ng strategy nila. Okay? So next we have the adjustment strategy. So adding or reducing capacity in small or large amounts due to consumers' demand or due to major changes to product or system architecture. So pag adjustment strategy naman, depende siya or so pag sa match, they are adding. So pag sinabi naman natin adjustment, they are adding or reducing. So yun lang naman yung pinagkaiba ng dalawang strategy natin. Okay? So after the capacity planning, we have this called the BOM. So under na siya ng material management natin. So this is our last topic for this term. So BOM is what we call as the bill of materials. So what is a bill of material or BOM? So a bill of material is a centralized source of information containing a list of items used to manufacture a product and the instructions on how to do so. Often show in hierarchical way. A bill of material is the finished product at the top down to individual components and materials. So pag sinabi natin bill of materials, ito yung breakdown or broken down na materials na kailangan nating gawin or kailangan nating i-produce or ibilhin para magkaroon tayo ng isang product. So hindi lang materials yung mga nakalist dito, kundi yung mga instructions on how to do so. Okay, yun lang naman siya kasi. So, bakit natin kailangan gumamit ng bill of materials? Kadalasan naman, ginagamit natin yung bill of materials para hindi na natin kailangan maghanapan ng mga materials natin. Sige, sabihin nga natin, sa pagluluto, for example, sa pagluluto, mas maganda meron tayong nakalagay na recipe para hindi na tayo magkulang. So, kasi sa pagluluto, nag-i-start yan sa pagbili ng mga kailangan natin. So, yung time natin nagsisimula sa pagbili ng mga ginagamit natin. So, pag may nagkulang tayo, madadagdagan yung oras natin na kailangan para magluto ng isang bagay. Okay. So, yun lang naman simple yun. So, sa manufacturing din, dapat kompleto yung mga bagay or mga materials before we start. Kasi, magkakaroon tayo ng, sabi ko nga kanina, ng mga delays, pag kulang-kulang or hindi natin alam yung gagawin natin. Okay? So, the different types of bill of materials depend on the type of project and the business needs. Common areas that utilize BOMs are engineering, design, operations, manufacturing, and more. So, manufacturing BOM is essential in designing enterprise resource planning or ERP, and also our next topic, which is called our materials requirement planning. So, kadalasan ginagamit yung BOM, sabi ko nga kanina, paulit-ulit lang, to minimize the time and also work efficient. So, kasi pag meron na tayong list ng materials and also we have the instructions on how to do it, tuloy-tuloy na and smooth na yung flow natin in manufacturing or giving services. Okay? So, ito yung example ng bill of materials natin. So, for example, sa bicycle, pag binreakdown natin yung parts ng bicycle, so we have frame, the saddle. Kung hindi na alam yung saddle yung upuan ng bike natin. And sa wheel, so yung wheel natin, we have two parts natin. So we have the rim and also we have the tire. So sabi nga dito, explosion display and assembly at the highest level. So nag-explode tayo, ibig sabihin there is a product. For example, cabin seats ng aeroplano. So sa cabin seats, meron mag-explode yun. So we have, for example, fabrics, metals, and polymers. So, plastics. So, yung tatlo na yun, mag-explode pa yun in other materials hanggat makuha na natin yung pinaka-product natin. So, tatandaan nyo, sa aircraft, we have this called the part number. So, matatandaan nyo, part number, ito yung ginagamit para malaman kung ano yung part na kailangan palitan or ayusin sa aircraft natin. Okay? So, we have types of bill of materials. So first we have EBOM or what we call the engineering bill of materials. So kadalasan, EBOM defines the design of the finished products. It includes all alternatives and substitute part numbers and parts contained in the drawing notes. So kadalasan, EBOM includes the product code, part name, part number, part revision, description, quantity, unit of measure, size, length, weight, and specifications of features of the product. So, kadalasan, sa parts natin siya magagamit. Pag sinabi natin, so, EBOM is often organized by engineers based on CAD. For a finished product, they will have more than one engineering BOM created. This is a product lifecycle management. So, kadalasan, we have this, sa aircraft natin or sa aircraft industry, we have this called the IPC. Or IPC, ibig sabihin nun, Integrated Parts Catalog. Ulitin ko, ang ibig sabihin ng IPC, Integrated Parts Catalog. So, ginagamit siya para malaman natin yung mga parts na pwede nating. So, exploded view siya. So, 3D view siya. So, pag nakita nyo yung IPC, makikita nyo yung mga parts. Then, may mga part number yun. Then, also, they have part sizes natin. Okay? So, next, we have the MBOM or what we call the Manufacturing Bill of Materials. So, it comprises all the assemblies and parts required to construct a finished item ready to be shipped. It also incorporates the packaging materials required to send the product to the customer. So, pag manufacturing na, kadalasan dito na pumapasok yung deliveries. So, dapat tama yung bill of materials or yung tama yung mga, like I said nga dito, the packaging. Dapat hindi madadamage. So, for example, sa mga Lazada or Shopee, dapat tama yung pagkabalot para hindi masira yung product natin. Okay? So, next we have the MRP, or like I said earlier, our materials requirements planning. So, what is MRP? So, MRP is a computer-based inventory management system designed to improve productivity for business. MRP is the earliest computer-based inventory management system. So, businesses use MRP to improve their productivity. And MRP works backward from production plan for finished goods to develop inventory requirements for components and raw materials. So, kadalasan naman, if we say MRP, dito na papasok yung from raw materials to production, and lastly to delivery, and also last, the inventory natin. So, ginagamit yung MRP to improve the inventory processes of a company. Okay? So, advantages niya, assurance that materials and components will be available when needed, minimize inventory levels, reduce customer lead times, optimize inventory management, and improve overall customer satisfaction. Okay? So, disadvantages naman niya, reliance on input data accuracy, the highest cost to implement, and lack of flexibility when it comes to production schedule. Kasi pag sinabi natin MRP, kadalasan computer-based siya, so minsan, meron tayong inaasahang system down. So pag nagka-system down siya, computer-based nga siya, we can have delays. So advantage naman niya, we have inventory levels. Ibig sabihin, maayos yung inventory natin. Kasi nga, hindi na siya disulat. So kung pag computer-based, we have systems na ginagamit na and maayos na siya. Yun nga, pag disadvantage lang, pag yung sa system, down natin. Okay? So, how material requirement planning or MRP works natin. So, MRP is designed to answer 3 questions. So, what is needed? So, anong product yung kailangan? How much is needed? Magkano? Or gaano karami yung kailangan na product? And lastly, when is it needed? Or kailan yung product na kailangan? Or kailan siya kailangan i-deliver sa consumers natin. So, MRP is basically a system for trying to figure out the materials and items needed to manufacture a given product. So, MRP helps manufacturers get a grasp of inventory requirements while balancing both supply and demand natin. So, kadalasan, nagde-depend pa rin tayo paulit-ulit na ulit sa ating supply and demand natin. So, tatandaan nyo lang siya. So, we have different steps of material requirements planning. So, number 1, estimating demand and the materials needed to meet it. So, sabi ko nga, nag-depend tayo sa demand. So, dapat alam nyo, meron kayong estimation or papasok dito yung estimation. So, estimation is under the last topic, the forecasting. So, dapat alam natin how to estimate what is demand or the materials na kailangan nating gamitin. Okay. So, number 2, check demand against inventory and allocate resources. So, yung inventory, dito na papasok kung may stock ba tayo. So, i-check nyo yung demand kung kaya ba itong mag-supply. Kung yung inventory natin kaya mag-supply. So, pag hindi, we need to add supply din. So, dapat yung supply natin tumapat sa demand ng consumers natin. Okay? Number 3 is we have production scheduling. So, production scheduling naman, kadalasan, calculate the amount of time and labor required. So, kadalasan dito napapasok yung mga employees natin. So, dapat alam nyo na kung ito yung product na kailangan nyo supply, you need to add employees. Kasi mahirap naman if pipilitin nyo na to produce this number of supply, tapos yung empleyado nyo, hindi naman angkop doon, magkakaroon kayo ng overwork. So, yung employee nyo, sobrang pagod, and there is a chance na alisan kayo ng empleyado nyo. Okay? Number 4, we have to monitor the process. So, kadalasan, kailangan natin i-monitor yung process natin. So, sa inventory siya papasok kung sapat ba yung demand natin sa supply ng consumers. Okay. So, ang critical input for MRP is BOM. So, connected siya. So, BOM specifies the relationship between the end product and the component. So, independent demand originates outside the plant or production system. And the dependent demand refers to components. So, connected talaga yung dalawang bagay. So, companies need to manage the types of quantities of materials they purchase strategically. So, MRP helps companies maintain low inventory levels. Making a bad decision in any area of production cycle will cause the company to lose money by maintaining appropriate levels of inventory. Manufacturers can better align their production with rising and falling demands. Ulit-ulit lang, lahat tayo or lahat ng MRP or BOM mo yan, mag-depend tayo sa rising and falling ng demand natin. So, we have types of data considered by MRP. Number 1, name of the final product. 2, what and when info, the shelf life, inventory status or BOM, and the planning data natin. So, ang shelf life naman, kadalasan dito naman papasok yung expiration ng mga products. Okay? So, how does MRP benefit a business? So, kadalasan naman sa material management lang siya. So, inventory, dun din papasok, manufacturing efficiency, and customer satisfaction kasi increase due to reduced lead time. Ibig sabihin, mabilis, madi-deliver yung mga products natin. Kasi tama or systematic yung system na ginagamit natin by the use of our MRP. So, advantage niya, so assurance, available, optimized inventory, reduce customer lead times, increase manufacturing efficiency, increase labor productivity, increase overall customer satisfaction. Disadvantage, heavy reliance on data, accuracy. So, kadalasan, sabi ko nga, pag nag-system down, yari ang MRP. So, you need a backup plan or para hindi siya digitalize lahat, para pag nag-system down, meron pa rin kayong processes para magawa yung trabaho nyo. Okay? So, yun lang naman yung kailangan yung tandaan siya. Expensive siya kasi may system siya. So, you need IT professionals to do your system. Hindi lang siya basta Excel and other softwares. Okay? So, that's all for our topic. So, discuss natin today yung MRP, BOM, and also the capacity planning. So, kadalasan, nag-depend lang naman ito sa inventory natin and how these systems can help their company in terms of inventory. And also, lagi natin sinasabi, lahat ng to mag-fall out sa the law of supply and demand. So, that's it for today. I hope you learned something. Kung hindi man marami, sana may nakuha kayong konting kaalaman to improve your knowledge all about these things na na-discuss ko. So, I hope you're safe in your homes and let's see each other the next meeting. So, thank you and God bless.